In this week's episode of Zankyou no Terror, 5 has her final showdown with 9, and we get to learn a few more details about the Athena plan in this week's jaw-dropping episode. This series leaves me a wreck after the end of every episode, and clearly this one is gearing up for the finale of this show, which is a perfect combination of Death Note and The Dark Knight, especially in this week's episode. I know that seems like a weird comparison, but there were a few scenes in this week's episode that reminded me out of things from those shows. Obviously, it has the tone and mystery of Death Note, but there was that scene at the beginning of the episode where 9 just decided to turn himself in. He proved that by wearing his awesome blue Power Rangers mask, but they bring him in, and they bring him into this dark interrogation room, and the minute they showed that scene, I just could not help but imagine Batman was right behind him and about to slam his head right into the desk, and it just made me chuckle a little bit. And of course there was that scene at the end of the episode during that massive car chase that was inside the tunnel. Again, I just got a lot of big Dark Knight feelings from that. But this week's episode was groundbreaking. Again, the production value is great. I don't think I need to talk about that. The story this week was awesome because Shibazaki finally got to confront this guy who sort of fucked with him in the past and is also responsible for this whole Athena plan. And this group that he's involved with is essentially these bitter war veterans. And obviously this is a reference to World War II, the atomic bombs. And these guys are basically explaining that when that happened, Japan's spirit essentially was lost forever. They're now a nation of losers, and there's no way that they can basically attain independence again. And the only way to do that is to create these super smart children, and they have to go through these crazy experiments to make it happen. Not to mention making big atomic bombs behind closed doors, which is definitely a no-no. But this confrontation is really tense, and obviously this old guy who is nearly on his deathbed doesn't seem to have any sort of remorse for what he's done, and even seems to welcome Sphinx in what they're doing. The other thing about this episode is that it's all leading up to this scene where 5 gets out of the hospital, and it's pretty obvious that her mental state is deteriorating fast. So she has this crazy plan where they're getting ready to transport 9, and she's going to ambush it with these random trucks to make it look like a fake organization. And it just turns into this big, crazy car action scene where cars are swerving all over the place. She ends up going crazy, and you know this when she starts pulling out a pistol and firing right at the police van that 9 is inside of. And it's at this point that her assistant, who I think his name is Clarence, decides that she has officially gone way too crazy and can't be involved in this case anymore, and he puts her at gunpoint until she decides to kill him. And as 9 is trying to run away, she tries to run him down, and then she has a confrontation with him where she mentions that the only way that she's been able to live over the last couple of years is because of 9, because she's been chasing him this entire time. But her mental state and apparently her health state is just not good. So she decides to give him one last kiss, walks up to this car which is leaking gas, and shoots it at point-blank range, which then explodes and kills her. Just, I did not imagine that 5 was going to go out like that, in like this crazy, explosive suicide. I imagined there would be a more final confrontation in the end of the series, and it really caught me off guard this week, especially when all of a sudden they cut to the scene where she was chasing down 9. I'm like, is this really about to happen? She's gonna kill him! And then she ends up killing herself, and just, it leaves me just shattered, you know? I mean, because she's a very complex character. Everything we thought we knew about her, we were kind of wrong about. She was basically mentally insane. I mean, there was a lot of evidence to this, but just the fact that it all happened within, like, the last, like, couple minutes of this week's episodes, just shit escalated quickly. The other big thing, obviously, is at the very end of the episode, 9 escapes, and he's getting ready to enact their final plan, which is they have this big balloon which is picking up the atomic bomb, and they're putting it over the city, and it's set to go off at 10 p.m. I don't know what they're gonna do. It doesn't seem like they have any sort of plan behind disarming it. I don't know if there's like a bigger, like, secret mission here. I mean, I'm expecting one hell of a twist at the end. I think we have 2 more episodes to go, so they have plenty of time to explain things, and, you know, there's gotta be a lot of explaining. And there's still the inevitable confrontation of Shibazaki going up against Sphinx, which has not happened yet. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Zankyou no Terror? Awesome. Easily one of the best anime of the year. This episode alone definitely proved that. it really left me in, like, a torrent of emotions. Like, I didn't know what to think, especially with the fact that 5 was killed off so quickly and so close to the end of the series, but I thought it would be more like the final episode, or maybe even she wouldn't die at all. And the fact that this has all been a means of just trying to meet 9 again and everything, like, that's so strange. Like, just, this chick is insane. She's definitely one of the most insane antagonists I've ever seen in quite some time. The other thing that's interesting about this episode is, it's the type of series that is going to affect people on a number of different levels. In fact, I believe this show is going to have much more of an impact, obviously, on the viewers of Japan, because, of course, they're a nation that has dealt with the terror of the atomic bomb. So this is a series that's really going to hit it home for them. But even still, it's still a relevant story, and it's a competently told story. And I've said it many times, this show just has amazing production value. It's got some really great characters in it, some of which are a little cliche, like the rookie hotshot who wants to be just like Shibazaki. I like the fact that Shibazaki was able to get him away from the case by asking him to find these, like, really obscure cigarettes. I'm guessing that's what his plan was, just to keep him out of the situation so that he could go in and talk to this weird old crazy guy. And, like I said, they talked a little bit more about the Athena plan, about making smart children and stuff, you know, Akira plan. But, they still need to explain so much more about it, you know. It's still a mystery at this point, and I imagine that's what the final episodes are going to be for. And, you know, this one right here was a really emotional episode, and, like, the main characters didn't die or anything, and I just, after this episode, I don't see this series ending well for a lot of people, and if they're going to be really bold, I don't know how dark they're going to go with this. I mean, is this bomb going to go off? If it does, just, boom! This series has balls, man! It's great. So, this episode right here was fantastic. I loved it. Probably my favorite episode of the series thus far. Obviously, if you haven't seen the other ones, though, it won't mean as much. So, watch this show. It's awesome. I'm giving this week's episode a 5 out of 5. Really awesome. Definitely worth your time. Check out this incredibly thought-provoking and beautiful anime series. Thank you guys for watching my review today. Before you go, make sure and hit that like button so you can give this video a thumbs up. And please tell me what you thought about this week's shocking episode of Zankyou no Terror. What do you guys want to see from the finale of this awesome anime series? And make sure to subscribe to our channel if you have not already. There's a little button right up here that you can click on. And you can also check us out on Facebook and on Twitter.
Do you like Amazon.com? I know I do. Corey and I now have an Amazon link in our video description box below. And if you go to it and buy anything through Amazon.com, it will support our channel. So bookmark that link, make it happen, and support our channel without having to do a damn thing.
Another great way you guys can help support our channel is by donating directly through our PayPal link in the description box below. We recommend $2 a month, although this is completely optional. But the best way to go about this is by sneaking into your mom's room and taking $2. This way, she won't even notice. And we won't have to shake you up for all of your lunch money. So guys, that concludes this review today. Super Kami Guru 9000. Out.